Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. In this video, I will discuss about important factors and elements in designing lesson plan. And my name is Rosa Indah. The contents in this slide are 1. The concept of lesson plan. Number 2. The components of a lesson plan. Number 3. The principle of designing lesson plan. And last, the stage of developing a lesson plan. First, what must be done is to draft a lesson plan. In Government Regulation Number 19 of 2005, it is stated that the planning of the learning process includes a syllabus and lesson plan which contain objective, learning materials, methodology, learning resource, and evaluation. From this statement, it can be concluded that these components can be summarized into three aspects: purpose of introduction, learning activities, feedback, or evaluation. Each stage of learning must be planned to meet the requirements of developing student potential and ensure that instructional objectives can be achieved. Second, the lesson plan component. An RPP is designed to meet basic competencies that can be implemented in one or more meetings. The things that must be in the RPP are as follows. Number 1, identify of the subject matter, which includes the title of the lesson, class or semester, program, theme, and time allotment. Number 2, competency standards. Number 3, basic competence. Number 4, competency achievement indicators. Measures are observable behavior that show the achievement of certain basic competencies as a reference for evaluating subject. Number 6, teaching materials in content phase, concept, principle, and relevant procedures. Number 7, time allotment. Number 8, methodology, the method used by the teacher to create a teaching and learning process that allows students to achieve basic competencies. Number 9, learning activities consisting of three parts, namely, initial activities. The activity is carried out at the beginning of learning and is intended to arouse student motivation. When one the move, this is a major learning process and aims to achieve basic competencies. Activity posting. The activity is carried out to end learning, which can be in the form of summarizing, evaluation, reflection, feedback, and follow-up activities. Number 10, evaluation. The procedure and the instrument of assessment should be based on the indicators for competency achievement and refer to the evaluation standard. Last, learning resource. Selection of learning resources must pay attention to competency standards and basic competencies. Third, the principles of designing lesson plans. Number 1, individual differences. Consider individual differences regarding the level of characteristic. Number 2, fostering student participation. Lesson must focus and foster student creativity, initiative, inspiration, independence, and motivation to learn. Number 3, Develop student reading and writing habits. Number 4. Provide input and follow up. A lesson plan should include activities that can provide positive feedback. Number 5. Links and unity. The lesson plan is designed by considering the relationship and unity between the components of the lesson plan. Number 6. Using information and communication technology. RPP is prepared to foster the use of information and communication technology that is integrated, systematic, effective, depending on the situation and conditions. Fourth, stage of developing lesson plans. A well-developed lesson plan reflects student interests and needs. Therefore, you must use a wide variety of methods and approach. The use of props and media can also inspire and encourage student motivation. But the English curriculum and syllabus was developed in the content standard are directed to follow the two cycles, oral and written. And the first stage, building knowledge of the field, model of the text, chain construction, and independent construction. Therefore, English lesson plan should be integrated. Unit which may cover more than one single basic competency like listening and speaking for the oral cycle, reading and writing for the written cycle. And the following are the steps in designing an English lesson plan, like in the slide, and we will discuss it more in the next slide. And this is about the flow of lesson development, such as an example. Okay, number 1, mapping of competency standards and basic competencies. The competency-based curriculum developed in the content standard is prepared to teach students the communicative competency which cover the actional competence, linguistic competence, socio-cultural competence, and strategic competence. In general, there are 4 competency standards: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Attachment for any subject. Your task is to select basic competencies that can be incorporated into the unit plan, taking into account the subject's approach to designing the teaching places. Number 2, determining the indicators for basic competency achievement. Indicators reflectable or observable behavior to show the achievement for the basic competency which will be used as the reference of the assessment. Indicators for achievement should be written by using operational verb conferring the knowledge, attitude, and skills. Number 3, setting up the purpose. The 2 aspects that you should include in setting goal are A. The processes. This reflects the aspect student activity during learning. Activities should be the student center, and the more students involved during the lesson, the better. Consider student motivation, interests, challenges, and creativity. And this is the example of activities such as listening, speaking, reading, and writing. B. The learning outcome. Achievement of basic competencies, which include knowledge, attitudes, and skills, and this is about that example. Responding meaning to different kinds of text type, expressing meaning for the varying kinds of purpose, and less like pronouncing or reading aloud and others. Number 4, selecting learning material. The learning materials prepared for the lesson plan should be based on the student literacy level, like performative, functional, or informative. And for junior high school are descriptive, procedure, recount, narrative, and report. Well news items, discussion, explanation, exposition, and reviews are for senior high school. And learning materials such as types of communication, transactional conversation, interpersonal conversation, and informational text in the daily life context. For example, transactional conversation, giving direction in various contexts, like in kitchen, street, and others. Number 5, structuring the stage of interaction. The lesson is carried out through 3 phases: pre-activity, rules activity, and post-activity. And here is an example of reading lesson. Narrative text. A. Activities or pre-activities. Pre-brainstorming. The teacher starts teaching the lesson and creates the students. B. Wireless activity. Stage 1. Building knowledge in the field. In this step, the teacher guides students to identify the character of the story. In this step, the activity is focused on speaking. Stage 2. Modeling of the text. In this step, the teacher gives or shows students the type of complete text that is good. Stage 3. Trying construction of the text. The teacher encourages students to write based on the reading text they have read. C. And last, post-activity. Stage 4. Independent of construction of field. In the final step, students write their own story without teacher assistance. Number 6, preparing the assessment. Assessment is a method of evaluating student achievement. This stage focuses on ensuring that your students have arrived at their intended goals and have been formulated as indicators of competency achievement. And here what we have to assess: student ability to create and respond to the text, like in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And the text that we may use in spoken, like transactional and interpersonal dialogues, and writing, like informational text and essays in the target genres. Test items should not measure the student's knowledge on the rules of the language. Instead, they should be focused on meaning. The meaning tests are idiotional meaning, interpersonal meaning, textual meaning, and logical meaning. Okay, last, it is about an example of lesson plan, and in the slide about identify the subject. The example like English version, to SMP or MTS, and the subject is English language. Class master 7th grade. Text type transactional or interpersonal. 10. Personal life and skill listening. 10 allotment 2x 14 minutes. And it is about the example of identifying the subject. And then you have to mapping your competency standard and basic competencies. And this is the example about that, like competency standard 1. To understand the meaning of transactional and interpersonal dialogues, to interact with the closed environment. And basic competencies like 1.1 to respond the meaning in the transactional or to get things done, and interpersonal dialogue, which is used in the simple or communication accurately, fluency, understandable to interact with the closed environment that involve, and others. After that, determining the indicator for basic competency achievement, and this is about example. Indicator for achievement like the students are able to respond the expression of hello from the strangers and others. And this is about the example of setting up the purpose and selecting learning material. And this is about the example of structuring the state of instruction. And don't forget to put the 3 P's technique: the pre-activities, while activities, and post activities. And this is about that example. Last, the example of preparing the assessment. In this example, learning results, evaluation, and last is about scoring. Planning is the most important step before carrying out an instruction, and a good planning will enable both teachers and students to carry out their tasks effectively. Okay, it is enough and thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.